Hi, this is Holly Morrison of Goshen Farm and Gardens, and welcome into my kitchen. We are here to talk to our viewers who have been asking for a video on how to make bone broth in your Instapot. So I have my Instapot going and my kitchen smells divine. So welcome back into my kitchen. All right, let's get started. So this is a cookie sheet and some good oil, organic coconut oil, and it's refined actually, which is what you want to cook with. So we've got a little bit of that. We've got some wonderful beef bones from the farmer that I just picked up a few days ago. This is about 3 pounds worth. These are from our local farmer that we get our milk from and any bones that we get. So we're going to just go ahead and jump in and prep them. This is a 20-year-old cookie sheet that's got lots of love on it. Parchment is a chef's and a home cook's best friend. There we go. So all we're gonna do is take these lovely bones and put them on my parchment. Oh my goodness, let me hold on just for a moment and I'm gonna turn my oven on. We should have done that first. I'll be right back. All right, so we're just gonna get these bones out of the bag. And I've got a nice little trick to not get your hands all dirty. I mean, I'm gonna still wash them, but. So your parchment is more than gonna keep your pan from getting all baked on, because we're gonna cook these in our oven until they're caramelized and that the kitchen smells amazing. That's pretty much how you know when you're done. Now these are really big, so they take a bit longer. So obviously we're gonna keep up with all that. So obviously you're not gonna watch all that happen slow-mo, but so we're just drizzling some oil on. And just whatever high temp oil you have in your house. Avocado oil works great, coconut oil works great. And then we're just gonna scoop up. And we're massaging that oil, sounds loud, onto your bones. There we go. So that is 3 pounds of bones, grass-fed. They're going in the oven and they're going to taste amazing. Some people will go ahead and put their veggies on there since they're roasting their bones. And of course, if you've watched our how to make bone broth in your crock pot with chicken bone broth, you'll see I use Veggie Scraps for everything. You can roast them, but I don't think it's necessary. And I think that you have a chance of these are gonna cook for a while, so you have a chance of burning your Veggie Scraps, and burnt Veggie Scraps do not taste good. So I'm gonna take these over to my oven and pop them in. They're on a low broil, this oven is new to me. So normally I put it in a 450 oven. That's a little too cool to get the caramelization going. So I just put it a little bit higher, which on this oven would be a low broil setting. So that would be 475. But your oven's probably gonna be fine at 450, and it might be a hot oven. And if it is, then you wanna drop it back to about 425. Anytime you smell something that smells like it's just going too fast, just drop your oven back a little bit. But you want caramelized color, and brown tastes good. So if you get caramelization, you're gonna get a really deep, rich bone broth. All right, I'm gonna pop this in the oven and I'll be right back. Here we go. So that is about 3 pounds of grass-fed beef bones that have been roasted, and as you can see, they've caramelized. My oven's a little tricky, so I didn't want to go too far because I had the smaller bone there and I didn't want it to get burnt. But this is all the color you need to make a nice, deep beef bone broth. So we're gonna put all of these in here. Let's get this out of the way. And then this pot is an 8-quart Instapot. And it's a Christmas gift from my sister, Erin, and my brother, Mark. Well, my sister-in-law, but she's more like my sister. All right, hold on. This baby's huge. Give me a second. All right, we got her. I mean, these are some honking big bones. And I asked the farmer to give me really big bones, and they took me serious. They're awesome. All right, and then these are all your drippings. I can do this. I do this all the time. except right now we're doing it on camera, so I don't want it all over my clothes. All right, we're pouring those into, because that is Flavor Town. And then the lovely thing is, your cookie sheet is still clean. So I'm gonna move this out of my way so I can finish the process. All right, so there's all our lovely bones. And again, this is an 8-quart Instapot, but we're not putting in enough to fill this all the way to the top. We have about 3 pounds of bones in there. So we're going to need 2 quarts of clean water. Mine was filtered and it went through a Berkey water filter, the shiny thing behind me. Love that thing. I've had it many years. Same filter. Amazing. Anyway, 2 quarts of clean water is going in. And the goal is that the bones are covered, and they are. So we are going to now add our veggie scraps. I've done a heap of cooking lately because we've had some birthdays. So I've got a ton here, much more than what I need. But I love to put celery, onion, and a few carrots. I don't put a ton of carrots in because they're sweet. They don't burn or anything, but they just kind of can change your broth. So I just put enough in there to make it delicious. Now all of these have been rinsed before they were put in my freezer. And I juice. We have a how to juice video. You can check that out if you like. So a lot of these veggie scraps for me accumulate very quickly because we juice carrots and we juice celery. So I have an abundance of both of those. So all of those are going to go back in my freezer, and I reuse my bags because they're in the freezer, so they're perfectly clean. And then I'm going to put in an organic head of garlic, and that's going in also. And it will be harvested about 6 hours later, 4 to 6 hours later. If you forget and don't pull it out, it's still going to be pretty good. I've done that before. But it can, it can get a little funky if you leave garlic in too long. So I'm putting that in right there on top. And that is the finished product. And because my veggie scraps were frozen, all of that fat has hardened. And they're gonna go in our Instapot. And again, you could do this without the crock pot lid. This is an add-on. You have to purchase this separately. I highly recommend it. But that will just go on just like that. But you can totally do it with your crock pot lid. Excuse me, not your crock pot lid. That's your crock pot lid. You could totally do it with your Instapot lid, but you're going to want to be sure you have it on the venting setting. And that's right there pointing down. Wherever it says venting, and I think they're all pretty consistently the same place. You don't want it to build pressure. Now, if you want it done quickly, you can put it on the pressure setting and let that pressure build. So, this is how you're gonna put it on. Kind of doing it a little backwards. Let's see if I do it right. And it's on the vetting setting. And you just turn it. And it makes these lovely little sounds that tell you did it right. So it's on the vent setting, and I can cook this as long as I wish in this machine using your slow cook setting. The lovely thing is it has a keep warm setting, so if you set this up in the morning and you don't think about this again until tomorrow evening at 5, it will have already done its 20 hours and it will be still in the keep warm setting. So you will not have lost your broth. A lot of crock pots have that feature too, which is nice, but this is how I'm gonna be making all of my bone broth from here on in. So I'm gonna take this back off, and I'm gonna put my crock pot lid on, which is super nice. You can just kind of see what's going on, and your husband can come home and take the lid off and be nosy and go, "What are you cooking?" And you're gonna go, "Leave it alone. It's not done yet. It's working on it." So we're going to pull off some bone broth that I've already had cooking for almost, probably about 27 hours. We're gonna take the lid off. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this baby off. And let me get my hot pads. And we're gonna just pour this right off and collect it through a fine sieve, stainless steel, and then of course this is stainless steel, which is wonderful. And we probably are going to fish out the bone first, because actually with beef bones, and this one right here is one bone. So we're gonna get out my garlic. I put my garlic in early this morning. So this one's been cooking for several hours. And if you've watched our video on how to make bone broth, once that cools, that turns into a lovely garlic paste, but you only want it to be in there for a few hours. So 6 is okay, but anything beyond 6 is too much. And obviously this is cooked for a long time. So here is our big giant, I mean literally, it's huge. And I love with our farmer, they leave a little meat on there. I'm just letting it drip. And I'm gonna put that right here because guess what? This can go back in and it can cook another round and it will be delicious. It won't be bland. Like with chicken bones, you cook them another round. I do that for my animals. I don't do it for us because it doesn't really taste anything, but this will still taste divine. But this is your first batch. That's actually cool enough. I'm gonna use my hands. All right, here we go. And there's all my veggie scraps that are coming out. They look a little rough, but that's okay. We're not gonna use those again. There's some chunks of fat and a little bit of meat that my dog will happily eat for me. And we are actually going to use this lovely bone broth in a soup. So I'm going to pour that off into a mason jar and let it cool because I'm not going to use it right away. Now when I put that in the refrigerator overnight, all the fat, which is tallow, that's rendered from the fat that was on that piece. Now not all of them have pieces of fat. I like it when it does because it gives more flavor. All that fat will come to the top, and beef tallow is fantastic to cook with. So anyway, we're gonna actually put this in a mason jar, let it cool. And I might try and see if we put a little dish in the freezer to let it congeal so you could just see how it congeals. But this is delicious right now. Then there's nothing in here besides veggie scraps and bones because I'm gonna use this more than one way. So I don't want it to kind of taste like what I was doing. Like, cause sometimes I'll put herbs in there. With chicken, I definitely always put herbs in, but with beef, it's just so flavorful. It doesn't really need much of anything. So I'm gonna put this in my freezer in just a moment, and then we'll pull that back out in just a little bit. But what we've got right here is the garlic that we are going to cut open and show you the garlic paste. And the way you use garlic paste is you can take it, put it in like a small mason jar or any container you're gonna keep in your fridge. And it's good in your fridge for about 3 days. But you can just whisk it into soup and it will turn into like, it'll actually lighten your soup. So it'll look like it's creaming your soup, but you're creaming it with roasted garlic. It's just amazing. Or you could smooth it on bread. You could toast a piece of like baguette or just a piece of bread and just smooth a little bit of that on and put just a little pinch of salt. You can put butter on it and then put that on. It's just endless. Or you can make garlic toast with it. It's delicious. It's fully cooked. It's very mild because all of the heat of garlic has already been cooked out. So let me grab a cutting board and a knife and I will cut this open and show it to you. So this is cooled enough for me to handle it. You definitely do not want to mess with this when it's piping hot. And you're going to very gently with a sharp knife, you're going to cut right across the middle. Now you don't want to eat the skin. The skin is going to be, oh, it looks like it's going to squeeze out on me. But here we go. Here's your garlic paste. And of course it's not doing it the way it normally does, but that's okay. We can always wing it. But the goal is you want the paste. Yep, here we go. We're just going to do what we can because we want to get all that goodness. So, and because it's been cooked with beef bones, of course it's got that deep beef color. Now this one's going to be tricky to get all the skin off, so you may not be able to get all of it. And sometimes it's just about how fresh your garlic is, whether or not it's going to cooperate. That's your stem. Let me just press it a little bit. There we go. Yeah, we're getting a good bit of it now. So you would just tinker with it and just keep pressing and raking it out, scooching it over, and you're going to end up with a couple of tablespoons is what I typically get, unless you've just got an enormous head of garlic. All right, so the rest of that, I'll probably tinker with it a little bit when we're done, but that gets the gist across. So there's your garlic paste, and there's no skins in that, and you don't want the skins, of course. So put that on a piece of toast, or whip that into some of your onion soup, French onion soup. Oh my gosh, beef bone broth and French onion soup, they are best friends. So that will be delicious. This bone still has a lot of love left in it. So this is going to go back in my Instapot with some fresh water, some more fresh veggie scraps, probably another head of garlic, see if I can get a little more paste out of it, and let that baby go for at least another 24 hours. And then after that, this big bone can be given to your dog. and they will love on that bone for probably a few months because that baby's huge. So of course we have to see the results of our bone broth. We put it in the refrigerator to chill it. And of course there's a little bit of fat on top. I defatted it a little bit. That jiggle right there, that's what you get with Jell-O. It's gelatin. That's it for how to make bone broth in your Instapot. Thank you for our viewers making the suggestion of us making this video. So this is actually one of our first videos that we've made because a viewer has asked for something, and we've had a lot of people asking about this. Thank you for coming in my kitchen and joining me as we have made some lovely bone broth in our Instapot. And please click subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you like our video. Please give us some comments below. We do our very best. We have a team of 3 that answers our comments, and we would love to have a chat with you. Thank you for joining us, and God bless you.